Hi, it's Allison. Welcome. This is your 40-minute Ustrasana Camel sequence straight from your home yoga practice webinar. And as you now know, we will start opening. We'll start getting centered by focusing on our breath. Notice the gentle inhale and exhale rolling through your nose like the waves of the ocean. And we start with centering because it helps us become more present as well as more open in our bodies and our minds and our hearts before we even start moving. Can connect with your why, your intention, what brings you to the mat here, and give thanks for the time and space, the able body that you can practice with. And then bring your palms together in front of your heart. A gesture of coming together. And then slowly you're going to release your hands. Open your eyes. And we'll start in standing for our sun salutations as warm up. For this longer segment, we're going to do 5 sun salutations. And as you know, the warm up is more about moving with your breath. Inhale, you're going to reach up to the sky. And exhale, bow slow and steady to the earth. Not a lot of alignment here. Inhale, draw your heart forward. You can bend your knees. And then exhale, bow in. Place your hands and step back into downward facing dog. And here you are connecting with your breath, you're connecting with your body, again getting more present. Inhale forward to plank, exhale lower to your belly, and inhale curl forward to cobra or up dog. Tuck your toes, lift up and back into downward facing dog. From downward facing dog, bend your knees, look forward at your hands, and step or hop to Uttanasana. Exhale, bow in. And inhale, stretch to the sky. Exhale, hands come through heart center. Inhale, reaching up. Exhale, bow forward. Inhale, lengthen your spine. Exhale, stretch through your legs and bow. And with your next breath, make your way to downward facing dog. With your next inhale, float forward to plank pose. Exhale, lower knees, chest, chin, or chaturanga. Inhale, pull your heart forward and up into cobra pose. Tops of your feet down, shoulder blades on your back. Then lift up and back into downward facing dog. Bend your knees, look forward at your hands, and step or hop to Uttanasana. And exhale, bow in. And with your next inhale, stretch up to the sky as you rise to standing. And exhale, draw your hands through your heart center, Anjali Mudra. Again, inhale, rising up. Exhale, bow forward, lengthen through your legs. Inhale, lift your sternum forward for a long spine. And then exhale, scoop your tail, lift your belly, and bow. From here, place your hands and step back, downward facing dog. Inhale, float forward to plank pose. Exhale, lower knees, chest, chin, or chaturanga. Inhale, curl forward and up, cobra or up dog, your choice. Wherever you go, your sternum lifts. And then tuck your toes back to downward facing dog. Step or hop forward on your inhale. On your exhale, bow in. And inhale, reach to the sky. Exhale, hands come through heart center. And then inhale, reach up again. Two more sun salutation. Really warming up the body. Exhale, bow. You may notice this a little slower if you've done this 20-minute practice. Inhale, lengthen your spine. Exhale, bow. And that's part of the way to flex your practice, is to actually take longer breaths or do longer holds. So you're going to notice later with the standing posture that in comparison to the 20-minute, inhale, come forward to plank. Exhale, lower. Inhale, cobra or up dog. And then exhale, downward facing dog. In comparison to the 20-minute practice, we will hold the postures longer, and this is a way to extend the practice. Inhale, step or hop forward to Uttanasana without adding a lot of more postures or changing the sequence. Exhale, bow. And inhale, rise. Exhale, hands come through heart center. Last one, inhale, stretch up to the sky. Exhale, bow to the earth. Inhale, draw your sternum forward, long spine. Exhale, stretch down through your legs and bow. And then place your hands, step back, downward facing dog. Inhale, plank pose. Exhale, lower. Inhale, cobra or up dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, step or hop to Uttanasana. Exhale, bow in. Inhale, reach to the sky. Exhale, bring your hands through heart center. From here, our first standing pose, working to get into our legs and lengthen through our legs. Wide-legged forward fold. You're going to take your feet about as wide apart as your wrists when they'd extend out from your arms. And then, if you saw, I bend my knees a little bit when I first come into this posture and then stretch my legs straight to really find power in my legs. Now you can stay in this kind of box arm formation or walk your hands out in front of you. Both of them help you hug your shoulder blades on your back and lengthen your spine, both of which are really important for back bends, and we're moving towards Ustrasana as our peak pose. And that's the great thing about peak posture sequences, is that you can be focused, you have a direction, you have where you're going in mind. So it's really valuable for feeling motivated in your practice. You can also clasp your hands behind your back too. That's a more advanced shoulder opener. And as always, stay steady in your legs, really lengthening through your legs. That is our focus in our standing postures here. pretty long hold here to start, getting strong and steady through our legs. And then you're going to scoop your tailbone, lift your belly, and rise with your breath. From here, step up to Tadasana, mountain pose. Plant your feet and inhale, reach to the sky. We're going to move through cobra or up dog, and you're going to exhale, bow forward. Inhale, reach your heart forward. Exhale, downward facing dog. So these transitions are a way to again flex and expand the same sequence. Inhale, come forward to plank pose. Exhale, lower. Inhale, cobra or up dog. Sternum lifts wherever you go. And then exhale, downward facing dog. And then you're going to bend your knees, step or hop to Uttanasana, which is our second standing posture. Uttanasana, you're going to bend your knees, move your hips back, heart forward, and then exhale, bow. We're going to do 4 more of those, just pumping into our legs, getting the legs super strong, practicing anchoring through our heels on the exhale. Very good. And 3 more. Inhale, hips back, heart forward. Exhale, stretch through your legs and bow. 2 more. Inhale, hips back, heart forward. Exhale, scoop your tail, lift your belly, and bow. 1 more, super strong. Bend your knees, move your hips back, move your sternum forward, and then exhale, stretch powerfully through your legs and bow. We're going to stay here for a few more breaths, and you can stay here or bend your knees and again clasp your hands behind you. That's if you'd like more of a shoulder opener in preparation for our peak pose, the back bend. You can always place your hands on your hips and squeeze your elbows together too, if clasping your hand creates any tension in the elbows. And then eventually, with your breath, you're going to slowly start to release your hands. Place them on the mat and step to downward facing dog. Now, from downward facing dog, you're going to bring your right foot forward for a high lunge, and that's going to start our hip opening portion of our sequence. So we're moving slowly but surely through those 9 points of the general template with the peak pose in mind. So step your right foot forward. And with strong, steady legs, inhale, rise up to your high lunge. Your front knees bent to a square, your back, upper, inner thighs lifting. Your fingers are active, so your shoulder blades are drawing onto your back for a strong, steady, open upper spine. And then exhale, bring your hands to the earth and make your way back to downward facing dog. You can stay in downward facing dog or move through cobra or up dog. Your choice. I'm going to roll through cobra or up dog here. And then we'll all meet in downward facing dog. And then from downward facing dog, bring your left foot forward, plant your feet, and rise up to your high lunge on the second side. So the best way to really open your hips in this posture is to stay active through your feet and really charge, be powerful in your legs, and allow your hips to be more open and fluid. This gives you an opportunity to lift through your sternum, lift through your heart, through your arms. And then with your breath, you're going to exhale and bring your hands to the earth and make your way back to downward facing dog. Again, coming forward to plank pose. Exhale to lower down and inhale to rise up, cobra or up dog. And then tuck your toes, lift up and back to downward facing dog. And now our second hip opener, Parsvakonasana. Bring your right foot forward, turn your left heel down, and then you're going to take your left arm up and over. Again, your right elbow can come to your right knee as a modification, or your right hand stays to the outside edge of your right foot. Again, just like the lunge, your front knee's bent to a square and you're really reaching through the back leg. Have strength and steadiness through your back leg, and that supports the opening in your upper body. Unwind with your inhale, and then on your exhale, step to downward facing dog. And again, you can pause here, move through cobra or up dog. I'm going to stay in downward facing dog, but it's always an option to add that in to extend the sequence, create a more invigorating or more stimulating sequence. And then once we're all back in downward facing dog, bring your left foot forward for Parsvakonasana side angle pose on the second side. Your right heel turns down, and then your right arm up and over, palm facing down. And then again, you can bring the left elbow to your knee. That is always available to you. And especially if it creates more integrity in the pose, you want to take modifications. Modifications are there to enhance your experience of yoga. There's a funny thing that happens that if the body fights you, it doesn't open. Step back to downward facing dog. And then together, inhale, come forward to plank pose. Exhale, lower. Inhale, cobra or up dog. And then tuck your toes, lift up and back to downward facing dog. From here, our last hip opener, you're going to come forward with your right foot for pigeon pose. We're going to take an active pigeon to continue the opening and building the energy for our peak pose. So you're going to stay up on your fingertips, and then you can walk the fingertips by your hips and hug your legs together so your pelvis lifts off the earth, if that's appropriate for you. And then you can place your hands to your hips or take your arms up to the back of your crown with your elbows bent, or take your arms up overhead. So a strong, powerful pigeon pose here, really opening your hips, really integrating your upper spine and preparing for Ustrasana, Camel's pose. With your next exhale, bring your hands to the earth if they're lifted, and then transition back to downward facing dog. And then left foot forward for pigeon pose on the second side. Again, you want to really hug your legs together if you're coming to a high pigeon. And that type of energy in your legs will lift your hips up, right? So it's a scissoring action of the legs. And then you can keep your hands on the earth, bring your hands to your hips, bring your hands behind your head, and you're like lengthening your crown up to the sky. And or take your arms up overhead, and you can even move through those different variations like you're building the pose, right? And even in my practice, I will build a pose like that. I won't go to the most advanced posture or the depth I can, but I'll build the pose with integrity, slowly but surely, breath by breath, variation by variation. And wherever you are in pigeon pose, slowly exhale, place your hands, and then make your way to downward facing dog. Got one more pose. This is up dog to strengthen the core, lengthen through our legs. You're going to come forward to plank, and then come all the way onto your belly and lengthen through your legs like you're stretching your legs back behind you, like you're stretching your toes. And then you're going to lift up onto your stern, on your belly, and then you're going to press into your feet so your legs are up off the floor. And you're drawing your shoulder blades on your back. They're not curling forward, they're drawing together on your back. And you keep pressing into your feet to lift your hips and your legs. Very good. Exhale, downward facing dog. And from here, we're going to move into our back bends. And first, you're going to come on to your hands and knees, and you're going to clasp your hands behind your back. So you're going to sit your hips on your heels. And here, this is another great way to engage your core, and you're going to scoop your tailbone down so you lift your belly up and in. And I'm going to show you some more depth in this because this is really, really valuable for the back bends. And in a longer practice, you have more time to sit in the postures and also get a little more technical, do a little more self-exploration. So really squeeze the shoulder blades on your back, scoop your tailbone down, and lift your belly. And then release the pose. And you're going to come onto your back for bridge pose. Again, another back bend in preparation for camel's pose. And we're going to do this twice, right? So 2 times the fun, 2 times the opportunity for getting into the upper back. You're going to press your elbows down to work your shoulder blades on your back and then lift your hips. Once your hips are lifted up, you can clasp your hands underneath you. If this is challenging, you can keep your elbows bent or hold a strap. Breathe fully and deeply here. Stay strong in your feet, steady in your legs, open in your hips, and really full through your heart and lungs. Exhale, lower. Bring the inner edge of your knees together, pause and breathe. And then one more here. Separate your knees. Press into your elbows to lift your hips. Again, clasp your hands underneath you for bridge pose. And then if it's available to you, you can either put a block underneath your sacrum or bend your elbows and hold the outside edges of your hips with your hands. And holding your hips with your hands like this, you can use your hands to widen your hips apart. Or if you're using a block, you can use it to support your sacrum, your low back and your legs. Don't collapse, but support. And you can really work the shoulder blades underneath onto your back here. So it's a powerful way to really get into your upper back, get into a back bend without a lot of effort, because sometimes the effort can actually detract from the opening. You're going to slowly lower down. Pause and breathe. Join the inner edge of your knees together. And then roll to your right side. Come up to your seat, and here we go. Peak pose, Ustrasana. We are there, we are prepared, we are warmed up. And we're going to do this 3 times, but first, this is kind of a beginner's variation. You're going to sit on your heels and then place your hands behind you and really lift your sternum up. And then maybe work on lifting your hips up and coming into Ustrasana. But you're going to start with the hands on the earth, hips on the heels, and just lifting the sternum. Now you can stay there, or place your hands on your hips, tuck your toes under. And here, you begin by just hugging your elbows together, hugging your shoulder blades on your back, lifting your sternum up. And then eventually you can take one hand to your heel and then the other and take the head back. So it's a slow progression again into this posture. We've got 3 camels to do. So work them in a way that serves you and continues expanding. So the last one should be your best. Come out of the pose with your inhale and then sit back on your heels, pause and breathe. Especially after back bends, in my home practice, I take time in between the postures to breathe because they're very expansive for your chest and your lungs. And you want to scoop your tailbone down like I just demonstrated so you can lift the low belly up and in, and that will help lengthen your spine. Come up for our second variation. Again, you can start with hands behind you or hands on your hips, shoulder blades on your back. That can be your Ustrasana. That can be intense enough. With your hands, you're really rooting down through your legs. And then you're lifting up through your sternum, like your sternum's a balloon lifting towards the sky. Once you have your head back, you can reach one hand to your heel and then the other. Now, if you've gotten here and this feels good to you, you can untuck your toes. So now you're on the tops of your feet. It is a significantly deeper back bend to do that. Even with the feet untucked, keep pressing your toes into the mat. You always want everything, particularly your feet and your foundation, engaged and powerful. And then inhale, come up. Exhale, sit back onto your heels. Again, tuck your tail so your low back lengthens. Yeah, just like that. And then your belly lifts up and in. This is creating a strength in your core, stability in your low back, and length through your spine. And then again, last one, final peak pose, the grand culmination of our practice. Again, just hands on hips if that's appropriate for you, or leaning back, you'll place one hand on the heel and then the other. If it's available to you, maybe untucking the toes so the tops of the feet are down. If that's relatively easy, you can walk your hands to the inside edges of your knees. And then if you are quite flexible, you're quite open, you can eventually take one arm up overhead and touch the earth, and then the other one up overhead to touch the earth. You've got to be super strong in your legs for that. Again, wherever you are, one last full expansive breath, and then inhale, come out of the pose. Exhale, sit back on your heels, scoop your tail, lift your belly, pause, and breathe. Let the great opening of that posture, and that is truly a great posture, really absorb into your body. And then we'll start our cool down. Place your hands, step back to downward facing dog, and bend your knees. Bend your knees so you get into your legs. It's the most effective way to relieve any compression in your low back. Keep your feet active for strong legs. And then you're going to come onto your hands and knees and sit your hips back towards your heels for child's pose. And then inhale, come onto your hands and knees and thread your right arm underneath your left for your twist. Keep your legs steady. I like to keep my toes tucked under so there's additional balance and energy in the legs. And then come onto your left fingertips so you can draw your left shoulder blade on your back. And other than really setting yourself up with intention and with clarity and with integrity, allow yourself to dive back into your breath. If you remember from the webinar, the intention of our cool down is really to allow the body to start settling, the nervous system to settle, any tension to settle, and prepare us for Shavasana, prepare us for the time of assimilation. And then inhale, come back to the center. Pause. And then left arm underneath your right for your twist to the second side. And here on the second side, again focusing on your breath. Twists are neutralizing, so if you feel really stimulated from the back bend, they'll help bring you down. If you feel really exhausted or totally worked, it'll bring you back up. So it's bringing us to a place of harmony inside and outside. It's neutralizing the spine. It's helpful for the internal organs as well. It's very rejuvenating, cleansing, detoxifying, purifying. So a very powerful practice for the end of your sequence. Inhale, come back to the center. Exhale, one last child's pose. These are the little extras, the little sweet tidbits that come with a longer practice. And then slowly come up, make your way onto your back. You can draw your knees into your chest and rock side to side, or maybe do little circles with your knees. One last self-loving embrace. And then stretch your legs out long. Allow your palms to rest beside you, face up in a receiving position. Maybe even tuck your shoulders underneath your back. And imagine all of your muscles. Imagine all of the tension, all of your effort, all of you melting. Melting like an ice cube. And you just drip, drip, drip. And just be. Slowly start to deepen your breath. Wiggle your fingers and your toes. Maybe stretch your arms up overhead, becoming bright and spacious and full and open. And then roll to your right side. And then place your hands and come to your seat. Close your eyes. And for our closing, before we step off the mat, before we truly depart from this sacred space of practice, reflect on your practice. Reflect on how it's changed the way you feel in your body, in your mind, in your emotional body or your energetic body. Reconnect with your why, your intention, your reason for coming to the mat. And then place your palms together in front of your heart and give thanks for this practice, for the time here, for your effort. Thank you ever so much for being here, for engaging in this practice, for doing yoga, because it truly makes a difference, not just for you, but for absolutely everyone around you. Thanks again. I'm Allison. The light in me sees and honors the light in you. Namaste.